This is Rain, the longest standing CS member of FaZe Clan.
There's actually another guy on the team called Rain.
He is known for having some of the most insane aim in Counter-Strike.
Weapon, they're ready, but so is he! Rain! That is absolutely ludicrous! Oh my god, what the hell was that? What in the blazes was that?
He was just hitting so insane shots with pistols.
He's never scared to take a duel, he's never scared to fight, and
I just never met a guy like him.
He's beloved by just about everyone who gets to know him.
Nobody hates Rain. Nobody ever said bad thing about Rain.
I really take inspiration to that.
He never gets upset. He's just really calm.
He's like the identity of ACS.
He's gonna go down in the game as one of the underrated GOATs.
But what some might not know is the uphill battle he had to fight to help pave the way for what competitive Counter-Strike has become today.
He's been the pillar of the team since 2016. The core component and key player that they can always rely on.
FaZe look to change the history books. They would be the first international team to ever win a major.
We thought it was impossible, and Rain believed.
This is a story of a legend, known as FaZe Rain. Today, most of the Counter-Strike teams are comprised of international rosters where the players from 2 or more countries are combined. So it's easy to forget this is a very new thing. For years, organizations dreamed of drawing talent from across the world and building a fabled super team.
Switching to an international roster just gives you a lot more options on the players you can pick from.
But every experiment failed miserably.
Cultural differences can be hard sometimes to figure out how people want to do stuff.
The international super teams were deemed impossible. In fact, no international team in history had ever won a major until 3 years ago. That is before one man became the glue to build the world's first successful international team around. But to figure out how he did it, we are going to need to go back to where it all started.
When I met Rain first time, normal Norwegian guy from Norway, just happy guy.
I grew up in a very small city called Flora. It's where I was born and raised. I was probably a little bit of a shit kid, blowing up mailboxes, and I kept everything very hidden from my close family, of course, but I had a really good childhood growing up and good parents with very good values. And I grew up in a very sporty family, where there's hikes every Sunday. You go do other stuff than sitting on the computer, and I played a lot of sports growing up. So me sitting on the computer until 3, 4 a.m. every night, it's definitely not something they approved of, but how it is going now, they changed their mind when they saw my first paycheck coming in, so that was all good.
But Rain's parents weren't wrong. There really wasn't any money in being a professional gamer yet. But despite that, Rain's passion for the game led him to continue grinding to become the best.
I never really thought about going pro, because before all this money into CSGO came, I don't think you could have lived a very comfortable life in Norway playing video games for a living.
He wanted to continue chasing his Counter-Strike dreams. But with no clear way to make a living playing CS in sight, he knew he needed to pursue a more practical career path.
In Norway, it's very big to work in oil, so I went to something called industrial line. You work on mechanical stuff. What I was doing was mainly to end up on an oil rig somehow.
But instead of finishing school, Rain took the year off and worked at a grocery store while playing CS in his free time. It was at this time when he joined his first team, London Conspiracy.
the first time I heard about Howie was probably London Conspiracy.
Behind, gets the second. Oh, lovely play. Rain has a hat-trick of headshots.
The team was pretty good and gave him the platform to highlight his talent at a pro level. But still, the money wasn't there, and Rain was running out of time to find a way to make his dream a reality.
Financially, I didn't make any money back then. I just felt like my life was wasting away, and that's when I was like, I'm gonna quit Counter-Strike.
And right before giving up, he got a call.
Suddenly, we got an offer from Kinguin, and that's how I got my first salary. I could show my parents, like, okay, I make some money here, so I just want to keep trying this for a little while, and it worked out. When I got the call to come up to Kinguin, it's pretty special. I remember I was still working at the time, and then I got the call, and they were like, yeah, we have a tournament in Sweden in a week. So I was just called my boss, like, yo, I can't come to work. And they were like, you better fucking come to work or you're gonna be in trouble, you know. I was like, nah, I quit. And normally you have to give them a few weeks notice, but I just didn't show up.
In 2015, he was bought out of his contract and then signed a deal with his first ever international team, Team Kinguin.
My start of my career was very special. It was definitely like a dream come true. Going to my first LAN, I was like, oof, better not fuck this up, this is fucking amazing, you know?
Needless to say, Rain definitely didn't mess things up, unless you're referring to what he did to his opponents. More than the fact that Rain and the team was good, they were historic. By being the first international team, they were pioneers in the industry. But this didn't come without challenges.
Of course, in the start, I think everybody that comes from a national team, it's hard to start in English because certain words you kind of double translate in your head and then the information comes right. So definitely the communication part was a little bit of a struggle in the start, and also dealing with all different nationalities. That everybody has like a different personality, right? So you have to kind of adapt a little bit. I can't be my full Norwegian style. It was not going to work. So you kind of have to adapt and make sure that everybody feels included.
It doesn't look possible here. Rain gets 3 kills though. One bullet left on Patrick gets the quad kill. Are you kidding me? Rain, he picks up every single one.
The team was good, but they lacked focus without a clear leader. So Rain was appointed as the IGL due to his ability to stay level-headed and thinking clearly in high-stake moments.
I did not want to IGL back then, but at the same time we didn't really have any options, and I felt like it was the best way to do it. We basically had only stars. Nobody had any experience from IGLing before, so at that point I think it was the right decision. But it went pretty well. Like we had really good results, and I'm just gonna say we should have won versus Envy in Cluj, and we probably would have ended up winning the final as well. We had a win streak against Navi during that time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kinguin to take down Virtus Pro on the 3rd map in the series. You've seen it here first. You gotta wonder if it's gonna be the last time ever.
Kinguin was on fire, but just 4 months into being a team, they get contacted by G2's founder and CEO, Carlos. G2 was in need of a new CS roster and wanted to prove that international teams could work. So a deal was inked with Kinguin where G2 would get the roster and Kinguin would be the team's main sponsor.
We feel really prepared as a team. We feel strong, we feel confident.
Rain's newly rebranded G2 team went on to have a good run, but there was turmoil amongst the players behind the scenes. And less than a year later, something would happen that would not only shake up things at G2, but it would go on to disrupt the entire industry. In January 2016, FaZe acquired the entire G2 roster. At this time, FaZe was only known for having a Call of Duty team.
I want to talk about FaZe Counter-Strike. So a lot of people, if you guys did not know, we announced a Counter-Strike team yesterday. It was pretty awesome. There's actually another guy on the team called Rain. There's a guy on G2 called Rain. And you guys might be like, wow, that's confusing, that's funny, but no. Let me tell you guys why that is the greatest thing of all fucking time. 2 Rains, let's go!
Rain and Rain headed off instantly. And after the news broke that the G2 team had moved over to FaZe Clan, the anticipation to see them play couldn't have been higher.
Come on, Hovard.
You wanna do it now?
Yeah.
How? You. What the was that? He's one of the best in the world. Go follow him on Twitter in the description at FaZe_RainCS. He's a really nice dude. I love all the pros. So hopefully you guys are supporting them this weekend. MLG Columbus. It's the first ever CS $1 million tournament. So it's gonna be amazing. Hopefully you guys are watching and supporting FaZe. FaZe the f up, guys.
Rain felt at home at FaZe. But after multiple org changes and interpersonal issues, the team as a whole had a hard time getting dialed in. They went on to take 12th place at MLG Columbus and 9th place at Katowice, followed by a slew of other losses.
We're still waiting to see if FaZe is a team that actually can make it deep in a major, can win best of 3 series, etc. FaZe looking sloppy in all sorts of places.
This would be hero level of performance if he comes up with the goods, and already Fallen looking for more codes. There is there to back him up, and there it is.
The team seemed to be imploding, showing up at tournaments as mere shells of their former selves, with the exception of one player, Rain.
Damage to help out. Rain coming in, he gets 1 more kill for the quad with 4 health left.
Yeah, he really is the Iceman. There, once again, when his team needed him, he is the man. If you want to count on like some kind of individual performance, you look to him on FaZe. He always comes through in the clutch. He always seems to deliver.
Yeah, FNX is choking from behind. Over they line. Oh, Rain! He shuts down. Oh, what a shot! It's an ace to finish the half.
Rain continued to be the bright spot on the roster, but the team wasn't performing, leading to roster changes just a few months after joining FaZe. And brought in Karrigan as FaZe's new IGL.
So when I joined FaZe Clan, kind of the idea was that everybody besides Rain can be replaced. Basically that's how it went from day one. They wanted to build a good team. They wanted to make sure I'm the captain together with Rain about who's gonna play in the team and how we're gonna keep pushing forward. So yeah, Rain was the only exception. They want to keep him for sure. And I understand because he's a very different beast and a very nice team player to have in the team.
I haven't yet had a chance to talk about FaZe and what they have been up to in this 36-day break. So they've made some changes. Alu and Keo are once again sent to the sidelines, but they have been replaced by some very scary names. Titans of the game themselves. Olaf Meister from Fnatic, and you get to see Navi's Guardian filling the roster as well. When you look at this on paper, Janko, would you ever, if I asked you 6 months ago, said, is this roster ever going to happen? You'd have probably laughed at me.
You look at this roster and you have 3 of the 5 players were in the conversation for the best player in the world.
FaZe put together one of the most lethal teams in the world. Karrigan, Guardian, Olaf, Nico, and Rain.
FaZe have done it, they are your E-League champions. All in one position and Guardian makes a chip back, trying to find the flash. FaZe dominate New York in 2017. They look so good.
The FaZe Super Team started performing incredibly well, and even on the roster with some of the best players in the world, Rain remained the backbone of the team.
Rain, I think, is definitely up there as the best player in the world on overpass.
Rain's influence has been huge across the board. Entry fragging, closing out rounds, pistol kills, everything.
I mean, I feel like I was a star player for sure, in the way that I was playing. I think I performed very well. But there's also something about playing with better players that you don't want to look like you're worse than them, right? That's how it has always been. I'm very competitive. So even if I'm playing with freaking Nico, Olaf, Guardian, I still want them to be out-fragging them on the server. It's just how I am as a person, I think.
Right in front, he's going to get another couple of sprays. He still hasn't even taken a single point of damage. Now, oh no, another quad kill. 19-0. He's already got the one ace. Why not try and get the second again? He's ready for it. Stewie right there. He's going to give it to him. He will.
This FaZe lineup goes on an absolute tear, looking to win their 3rd big event in just 3 months.
Area. This is the end of the line for Mousesports. FaZe, after a massive best of 3, shut down the dreams, desires of Mousesports.
Perfect. $250,000, guys. Congratulations.
Rain seemed to be at the peak of his career, and the wins kept coming. And it was like they could do no wrong. The team was on an all-time high.
Having been here for this long, do you feel like at this point you're at the highest you have?
Yeah. Look at the guys I'm playing with. Guardian, Olaf, Nico, Karrigan. This is the highest team I've had, and this is probably the highest I'm going to be as well.
Yes, welcome esports fans. We're in Boston for finals day of the E-League Major. It's going to be absolutely intense.
Rain, with the rest of the team's confidence, was peaking coming into the Boston Major. And how could it have not been?
FaZe was always gonna be the favorite team in this event. It's hard to ever see a team like that losing.
Team's confidence heading into the Boston Major was really high. I think we consider ourselves the favorites by far.
But little did they know it was going to be their downfall. See, the only team FaZe was really worried about was SK Gaming.
Back then, playing versus SK was always hard. They had a lot of good players. They had a style that kind of countered the way we play.
They dominated 2016, but they've yet to win a Premier in 2017. They've done it now, SK!
The previous year, SK won 6 Premier events and placed top 4 in nearly every LAN they attended. So when FaZe found out SK was eliminated by Cloud9, they were relieved. They did not take the North American team seriously.
Coming to the major final, I remember Rain is tweeting some stupid shit online that it's gonna be easy win against Cloud9 tomorrow.
I think Finn has been reminding me for the last 7 years as well about these tweets that I've been making. Back then, before the final, the day before, I tweeted it's gonna be one quiet-ass crowd or something. Yeah, it did not turn out very quiet.
Cloud9 have made, I think Jason called them, they've grown up
on a rush with a off angle, looking towards the apps position. The Molotov comes in.
Stu hitting the shots, he got hyped up by the casters and everything, but it was like he just had to hit a few shots and I had no time. I ran with bomb in hand from top mid to banana, 2 sides. I was just running with the freaking bomb trying to get it done, right? And I'm like, fuck, this is not gonna be good.
Look at the time, there's 7 seconds, they've got the bomb. They're trying to build pyramids, but there's no more play. Stewie's won the round, we're going to overtime.
There was like a chant going through my mind every time I think about Boston is to send them home.
Patiently, as Cloud9 sets the push up. Oh, it's happened!
Losing Boston, definitely up there as one of the worst losses. There's a lot because of Guardian as well. He should have had a major, and Nico could have had a major. You know, it could have been very different storylines in Counter-Strike if we actually managed to close that out. Yeah, it hurts looking back at it, but I've had a lot of hurtful losses in finals.
Soon after, the team took a nosedive, which led the players, including Rain, to make irrational decisions that ended up resulting in Karrigan being removed from the team.
Things aren't going well, they're unhappy. You can especially see it when they're going to an event and they really have to win it and they go out in the way they did. It's very clear when Nico said like, oh, you know, like, we're changing things, you know, Karrigan's not going to be the IGL anymore. And
if Rain had a role in kicking me, for sure he had. He had a chance to step up and say, no, I wanted to keep Finn, but he didn't. And he learned his lesson.
Yeah, we lost trust in his vision, but at the same time it was, I don't know, it was a weird time, and we definitely handled that very wrongly in the team.
From that point, the 2018 FaZe roster never recovered, with many changes happening to the team.
After we kicked him, there was, what, 2 years of basically winning 2 Blast tournaments only.
But Rain remained the unchanging denominator. With the roster continuously shifting, he slowly started to transition into more of a supportive role.
I've become a lot more passive. I'm not the same straight-up run-and-gun player I used to be. I wouldn't say I was never meant to be the star player. I think I was just the guy on the server that could always frag, you know.
It's a goal. Oh, was für Rain. Kriegt er noch den zweiten und den dritten. Rain eskaliert, macht sogar Kill Nummer 4 und das...
And I knew if it popped off, then the game would be very easy for us. So I think it's for the better of the team that I don't die senselessly a couple of times in a game. You can't afford it anymore.
Rain desperately wanted to improve, so much so that not only did he transform his playstyle, but his lifestyle as well.
Yeah, I used to be very overweight, and I think my highest weight point was 129 kilos. And I remember seeing myself in the mirror, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy, you know? I was down at 92 kilos by the summer that year. And once I lost all my weight, I wanted to get stronger, so I started eating more and getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, now it's just more about being healthy for my son and making sure that I'm able to run after him and chase him around and show him the sports that I grew up with.
At the end of 2019, Broky joined the team, and Rain believed he would be the next great opper. And he was right.
Oh, but Broky with a huge kill off the sidearm. Oh! Blosky into the clutch, but he's taken down.
He's very different from many operas. I think I know where he is like 5% of the time, even if I play outside with him. So it's full chaos with him, but I think that's where he shines.
I know Rain is always sitting next to me, and when we play on the stage, so yeah, I've been like sitting next to me for a long time, so I'll give him a fist bump. That's gonna be motivational.
With Broky's help, the team lifted a trophy once again. But the highs didn't last long due to one thing: COVID.
However, I regret to inform you, the viewer at home, that the public or in-arena audience, that has been canceled. That, for the time being, until further notice, has been canceled.
This was the online era, and it was detrimental to this international lineup.
Working your way up from sitting in your basement or in your room to getting to the arenas and then having to go back to just sitting at home, playing at home, you don't get the same tournament feeling. So it was very hard.
As time went on, the team went through more changes.
Nico didn't see a future with FaZe back then, and to be fair, that's also at the point when he was leaving that I didn't know if I wanted to stay in FaZe as well. Things were not going in the right direction, it felt, and it was like spiraling out of control a little bit.
So with the departure of Olaf and Nico, they decided to add twist and bring back good old Karrigan.
I think me and Finn have always kind of known we would play together again. We always liked each other. I always liked the way he was leading the team. he kind of got the best out of me as well in the way that he put me on the servers.
In 2021, it looked like they had all their pieces to be successful. But it wasn't until ropz joined in 22 that they finally cracked the code.
The highlight of my career, I'm just gonna do a year here. I'm gonna do 2022, or that roster. Winning all those tournaments, winning Katowice, even though I was in a hotel. At least I got to go down and have a few beers and celebrate with the guys, and I feel like I was a little bit part of it at least.
From 10 for FaZe, they're on the way potentially to a Grand Slam, and they'll let Rain pick this one up. FaZe, your ESL Pro League champions.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Antwerp for the PGL Major Grand Final.
Well, I just had a feeling, kind of unexplainable, but I told all my friends, just like, buy tickets to the Major, we're winning Antwerp 100%. And I just had that feeling going into the boot camp, going into the tournament. Every game I played, I just knew we were going to win.
And today we will crown our champion, one of FaZe or Navi.
Everybody knows the best player of CSGO was Simple.
I mean, I always remember when we were playing against Rain.
His opening and everything was so incredible.
He was just hitting so insane shots.
We knew it was going to be a hard game.
Yeah, he was just a headshot machine, you know.
Not bad at all! And Simple doesn't even click! 40 seconds, T-siding, that's the one! Bomb, trying every trick to recover, it has to be Rain! Looking for it! Oh! The ace! The ace, you doubted him! And he continues to prove us wrong!
As long as I was in the zone and doing my job and listening to Finn and listening to my teammates, we were going to win.
And Rain, he's not done! He gets his 30! And FaZe, 2 frags away!
Didn't really care too much about the MVP. It was just more about winning the Major and finally getting the trophy. I think it was after Antwerp that I said we're going to finish the season on 5th map, 16-14 versus Navi.
We have FaZe on one side, Navi on the other, and a grand final of proportions out of this world.
Aggression, one from Simple, needs more from the heavens, and ropz has taken him down. Navi, nothing. FaZe Clan looking to do it, tagged up. Surely he can't hold his nerve. And another impossible clutch. 3 members of FaZe, they won't let this go. They will not go quietly. All of the rounds, all of the maps, and FaZe Clan complete the triple.
Thinking about it, I told my team, I told my wife, like, imagine that end of the season, perfect game or perfect final, right? And it happened. It's probably the best game I've ever been a part of, to be honest.
I'm looking forward to what's going to happen after the summer break. We're in for some amazing Counter-Strike, and this was the best ever grand final we had for a best of 5 by far.
Rain has spent most of his career trying to prove that an international roster could succeed. And in 2022, he did it. He proved it. It wasn't just a historic moment to write in the Counter-Strike history books, but a blueprint that the best teams in the world still follow today. In 2023, Rain with the rest of the team finally accomplished their ultimate goal, winning the Grand Slam. Since then, FaZe has experienced many ups and many downs. But one thing that has remained the same, Rain, the foundation of FaZe CS, and the member who's been with the team for over 9 years. Talk about dedication.
I mean, Rain has been here in FaZe since the start, so when they joined CS, he has been here forever, so I think he's the most important guy that has played in the team.
I enjoy playing with him. I think there's lots of things that I want to learn from him, I feel like. So yeah, I'm happy to be around him.
Nobody hates Rain. I think when you hear from many players like Nico, Olof and Guardian that say Rain is the best teammate, there is something unique about him that's very hard to describe.
Oh, he's Norwegian god. He's too big, too strong, and yeah, and he's so calm as well. I feel like he brings confidence to the team.
I kind of think of the same way, and I like to play the same way he does.
confirmation to me that, you know, it is a way to play and it is a way you can play good. To me, it just gives more confidence to myself. That's the way I think is right, and seeing that in Howie, I think it gives some confidence to me as well.
My future in the next 5 years, considering the situation at home and how long my wife has been letting me do this and everything, I think within 5 years I'm not going to be playing anymore. I've had my fun at some point, and I also owe it to my wife and my family to be home, to watch my kids grow up and everything like that. So within 5 years I'll definitely be done. There's also a conversation I need to have with my wife to figure out the best time for me to hang up the mouse and figure out something else. So yeah.
Love is the cure and the remedy.
What does the future hold for Rain? I don't know. I ain't no fortune teller, bro. He fucking becomes a fucking multi-billionaire